It's been said before, but Arne Slot really does not get anywhere near enough credit for what he's done this season. He's turned up, bullied the Premier League, and did what Arsenal haven't been able to do for the past 3 years in the space of 9 months. In fact, the only way he could have asserted more dominance over the Gunners is if he dragged Mikel Arteta into the middle of the Emirates, pissed on him in front of the Arsenal fans, and declared that he was the 6-year project manager now. And you know what's even more impressive is the fact that he's been able to do it with a team that's not even his. He signed Mamadashvili, who's been on loan, and Chiesa, who's there, I guess. So imagine what it's going to be like when he does sign the players he wants going forward. But before we look at the future, we need to look at the past. It's time to go beyond the cop and look at 10 former Liverpool players who would have been amazing under Arne Slot. I haven't included Firmino because I did in one of my recent videos, just FYI. Number 10, Thiago Alcantara. Hot take time, but I think Thiago Alcantara is one of the most frustrating players Liverpool have ever had in the Premier League era. Not because he was bad or incapable of kicking a ball, we've got Nunez for that. No, it's because he was so injury prone, wait 4 months, play 1 match, get injured, rinse and repeat, with his legs taking more of a beating than Bonnie Blue's Fanny in the process, and building up more anticipation for his return than any Mark Morrison song ever could. But god damn, I would have sacrificed a goat to a deity to see this man operate in Arne Slot's midfield, if even just for 1 match. When it comes to midfielders who are controlled on the ball and able to pick a pass, there have been few better than Thiago in a Liverpool shirt. He would operate in that double pivot alongside Gravenberch, meaning he wouldn't be so relied upon to press and win the ball back, and could be utilised more as the deep-lying playmaker, receiving the ball from Konate and Van Dijk and dictating play, be it a diagonal long ball out to Salah or a splitting through ball into the path of Diaz or whoever's up front that isn't named Darwin Nunez. He was an expert of controlling tempo and dictating how the game was played, and he would have been Slot's dream midfield operator if he was capable of staying fit. Number 9, Yari Litman. From one injury-prone midfielder to another, it's kind of hard not to feel sorry for Yari Litman. The man had the ankle stability of wet bread, but when he played, there was clearly signs of a real talent amongst the Liverpool ranks. A talented and versatile attacking midfielder, capable of drifting out wide and picking out a great cross for attackers, as shown by his assist for Danny Murphy against Crystal Palace. And he was also capable of challenging a goalkeeper with terrific shooting, as evidenced by his long-ranged effort against Tottenham. So just imagine him operating almost as a second striker or attacking midfielder, following up behind the primary goal scorers in a similar role to Dominic Szoboszlai, hovering around the edge of the box, waiting for an opportunity to pounce on loose balls and give us an extra threat on attacking opposition goals at a time where it feels like if Mo Salah isn't contributing to said goals, we can find it a struggle to break teams down. Litmanen was also a creative player. I mean, look at this assist for Heskey. Gerrard would be proud, and that's something that any team needs, along with another player who's capable of taking a penalty, because I don't know about all of you, but when I'm watching Mo Salah step up to the penalty spot, it personally fills me with so much anxiety. It's like watching a horror movie with a dog in it. Don't kill the dog. Number 8, Daniel Ager. Now, before people jump at me like a seagull on chips, I'm well aware that Daniel Ager, while a solid and capable defender, was prone to the occasional error, and well, let's just say it wouldn't take Andre the Giant to reach his talent ceiling. But honestly, I think under Arne Slot, the Great Dane could have thrived. Why? Well, for one thing, he was a determined and often absolute mad ass in the back line. He wasn't afraid to throw himself around like one of those inflatable tube men, but with arms made of solid marble instead of tubing. And for my money, he is one of the most underappreciated Liverpool centre-backs when it comes to his on-the-ball talents. He was surprisingly composed under pressure and was able to slow play down, especially during the early years of Brendan Rodgers before he cast him out of the squad like a leper. Not only that, but me, he could score a great goal. I mean, look at that bastard fly. And I think this is a skill set that Slot would build on. Someone who was intelligent with his defensive awareness and able to play possession-based football when it was needed. Also, he's got that tattoo, so bonus points in my book. Number 7, Steve Finnan. And speaking of underappreciated defenders capable of picking out a pass like no one's business, it's Steve Finnan, the man who could be absolutely ideal for Arne Slot's back line in the modern day. While he isn't as mobile as the likes of Trent and Bradley, tending to move like a boner in a blizzard after 2 pills of Viagra, he was also able to get forward when it was required and create chances for attackers. I mean, he recorded 20 assists for Liverpool at a time where the main responsibility of fullbacks was defending, but he did it without compromising his defensive qualities. He would track back like it was no one's business when required, and was also able to position himself closely to the centre-backs, almost like a back three at points. So imagine this scenario. Robertson, or fingers crossed Kirkes next season, yes please, bombs forward to assist on the attack, and the remaining defenders shuffle along, creating a back three of Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahim Konate, and Steve Finnan, a backline more stable than an Arsenal title push. She would have been a great addition to Slot's possession-based style of football and would have kept the defensive structure in place, the best of both worlds. Number 6, Momo Sissoko. I loved Momo Sissoko as a kid. Watching him throw himself around like Jeff Hardy with nothing to lose in an effort to win matches for Liverpool made him so endearing to the fan base, and he holds a certain cult hero status in our history books. Also, he was an absolute brick house in midfield who broke up opposition attacks like a sledgehammer breaks through a glass window. He was a passionate and weirdly skillful player both on and off the ball, with his positioning in defensive situations becoming integral at points during a short spell with the Reds. But he was also a dependable passer of the ball, was able to come deep, receive the ball from defenders where needed, and distribute to the creative players in the middle of the pitch like Alonso and Gerrard. So just imagine him in Slot's system, not as a regular starter, but someone who could offer a similar role to Wataru, and an utter slab of concrete you bring on when you need to grind out a match and see us through the difficult spells towards the end. He played with his heart on his sleeve, and as the season has progressed, it's become a running joke that when Slot brings on Endo, the match is already in the bag. Not every player can be a starter, and Momo would have been a brilliant squad player to have as a backup. Number 5, Luis Alberto. There are a few players who can claim to have left Liverpool in recent years and actually boast an improved career. Dominic Solanke is one, but the other is Luis Alberto, one of the biggest what-ifs of the past decade for Liverpool. At Lazio, he became integral to their side, and it's easy to see why. He was such a lethal finisher and a creative maestro in the centre of the pitch who was capable of rotating between the anchor at the base of the midfield and the creative attacking force higher up the pitch, as evidenced by his 47 goals and 65 assists in 242 matches for the 2018-19 Coppa Italia winners. So imagine him playing in the sort of Alexis McAllister role of Slot's midfield, someone who was able to dictate play with his broad range of passing talents while also being able to press forward and operate almost as a second striker who could finish the ball at a moment's notice. He had an eye for goal, which was never utilised during his time at Liverpool, but under Arne Slot, where the game is more about possession-based slow build-up more than end-to-end relentless pressing, Alberto would have been able to showcase his skill set in a manner which suited him better than when he played under Brendan Rodgers and even Jurgen Klopp. Number 4, Dirk Kuyt. This is the water is wet version of a player who would have thrived under Arne Slot, but oh my God, I want to see Dirk Kuyt playing an Arne Slot team so goddamn much. For my money, Dirk Kuyt is one of the most underrated Premier League players ever. He was a loyal and consistent performer for Liverpool who was capable of operating up front in any position needed. He would sometimes play as a centre-forward, contributing to goals like the brace he scored against Reading in 2006, while also maintaining his status as a clinical right winger with an eye for space in between the lines. So just imagine him in Arne Slot's team operating in Luis Diaz role, a winger with pace who could provide for others while also being able to operate as a centre forward when it was required. At a time where we have Nunez and Jota stinking up the place, I will stop bragging on Nunez now, I promise. Kuyt would have been a welcomed addition as a deep line creator for the likes of Gakpo and Salah. He was better on the ball in a passing sense than Diaz is now, but he's also able to get forward and contribute to goals as well, which is something this current Liverpool team is sorely missing. Number 3, Jamie Redknapp. Now, Jamie Redknapp was a player who was in the right place at the right time. He was a hotel for Robbie Williams at one stage. I mean, if that doesn't get more rewarding than that, then I'm not sure what is. But that's not to say he wouldn't have thrived under another manager, or more specifically, the management of Arne Slot. I mean, just Think about it. Rednap was a well-rounded, technically skilled midfielder who was regarded as one of the best up-and-coming talents in the Premier League at the time, so his skill set being placed in the centre of the pitch, allowing him the freedom to create on a consistent basis in a similar vein to Thiago Alcantara earlier on this list, and you will find magic. Not only that, but he was a great set-piece taker. His free kicks and corners were more often than not dangerous, and he was someone who was great at positioning himself to ensure that he was always available to receive the ball, which is a major strength utilised by the midfielders in Liverpool's system today. I do think he went slightly underappreciated because he was next to Steve McManaman, and honestly, who wouldn't at the time? But I think he would have been great running into those pockets of space created when Konate and Van Dijk hold of the ball in the back line. Number 2, Felipe Coutinho. It's just too obvious an answer not to include it. Coutinho would have eaten Premier League teams alive under the management of Arne them out and forced it down the throats of other teams before eating them as well. He was never the best presser of the ball because he didn't need to be. We had Firmino, Henderson, Wijnaldum and others to fill that role. Coutinho was best when he was on the ball producing magic. There have been points this season where more than ever I have just wanted someone to shoot at goal, even if it's from distance. Not every goal needs to be passed into the net, and few players understood that assignment more than Felipe Coutinho. The goals against Stoke, Bolton, Southampton, Man City are just some example of this, but his passing and grace when looking for teammates was for a period of time second to none. He's called the magician for a reason, and he would have been incredible as the attacking midfielder in Slot's team, shooting with accuracy when it's needed, and while we would lose a certain level of intensity when pressing, the skill set of this Brazilian man with the ice gem haircut would have been more than worth it. And number 1, Raheem Sterling. Now, you heard me, and I'm not going to apologise for this entry, although if we are referring to Trent as a snake, then Sterling was the big bastard in the Jungle Book, but I think Raheem Sterling would have been great under Arne Slot. Say what you want about his finishing, and I will. He was one of the most frustrating players to watch when he was at Man City, not because I was annoyed when they didn't score, because, you know, him, but because he got about 5 chances a match and missed 4. So why would he fit Arne Slot's system? Well, because despite having those clear lapses of skills at moments, he still scored over 100 goals for Man City because a lot of them were basically placed to his feet. And doesn't that sound familiar to the way a certain bold Dutchman wants us to play? Wingers going to the byline and squaring the ball to strikers or other wingers who have cut inside for a simple tap in. It's the modern game, and Pep was able to make Sterling, who could actually finish a ball fairly competently despite my cynicism, look like £1 million. He was quick, direct, was able to score the occasional worldie, and most importantly, his positioning to receive those easy tap-ins was second to none because he was so difficult to mark due to his speed and nimbleness. Slot would have loved having this lad on the team. Fight me about it.